So yesterday I filmed a little bit of footage on my daily commute to work. It's now Saturday morning. The weather has obviously radically improved in that it's now raining even more than it was yesterday, and it is 13.5 degrees. So typical weather for the 10th of August in Scotland. This morning I've got to head over to South Queensferry, pick up my mum, take her into Edinburgh for a medical appointment, and I thought this would be a good driving video just to show you the tips that I use for getting the maximum efficiency out of my Enyaq. Again, I don't particularly try, it's just the way I'm used to driving now, and it will show the ways to get the best out of the auto regen that is available not just on the Enyaq but on all the MEB cars. And I think Kia and Hyundai also have a very similar system. So I've reset the trip data because obviously I've been sitting chatting, setting up cameras and so on. And then I'm going to use Laura to use the car navigation system to pick my route. I'll probably ignore the route it's going to take because it's going to want to take me along the motorway. It's slightly longer that way and it's not particularly the way I want to go. I've got my own local route that I'm used to using. Okay, Laura. Navigate to South Queensferry.
Okay, centre of South Queensferry. Have a good journey.
I'm not going to go to the centre of South Queensferry because there is a local event called the Ferry Fair on there this week and it'll be very busy. You'll also maybe notice I've got the sat-nav set so it's not giving me full comprehensive driving instructions about turn left, turn right and so on. It's a system I think is new on the latest software. It just emits a beep. So quite often you won't necessarily want to have, if you're listening to the radio or music or whatever, you don't want the full instructions interrupting what you're listening to, especially if it's maybe an audiobook or a podcast. I find that quite annoying. So what I've done is, this new option is to set just a beep, and that alerts me to have a look over at the screen and realise, yeah, there's a turn coming up that I need to take. So again, over the setup, the car is not in eco mode, it's just in normal mode, as you can see there. This is a new feature, you can actually just flick those modes through by pressing the button. On the old one you used to have to press the button and then use the screen. It's now purely button, so I can just reach out and use that. I'm going to keep it in there. And in terms of climate control, like I say, it's not hot, it's not cold, I don't need aircon today, but it is a little damp, so I've put the air flowing to me and up onto the screen. In fact, I'll probably just have it on the screen really, and set the fan to 2, which I find is better in terms of efficiency than the auto setting, and the temperature is set to low just to make sure that there's no heating involved, because as I say, I don't need it, and therefore what's the point in expending power and therefore spending some money, I guess, on heating the car when I don't need to. Now I don't know if this is going to pick up on the camera, but I've got the cruise control stock set to off, and therefore we should see the guidance. It's probably been cut off by the top of the steering wheel actually. Yeah, it's probably going to be cut off by the top of the steering wheel because there's a little sign there telling me to lift my foot off. If I put it onto that display, you can see it at the bottom of the left hand window. There's a little symbol saying lift your foot off the accelerator because there's a roundabout, and then it's disappeared because we've gone round the roundabout. Okay, so again, as I did yesterday, I'm just going to talk you through what I am doing as I'm doing it. This is fairly flat, maybe a very slight slope downwards. So again, just very slight pressure on the throttle. It's a 50-mile-an-hour limit here. Just keeping my foot almost resting on the throttle. We're at 49 and there's very slight regen. There's a little blue and green bar down there that you can maybe see. And it's slightly green at the moment, which means I'm now using some power. And if I put the screen back to the mixed display over there, you'll see doing 4.5, sorry no, we've done 5.6 miles per kilowatt hour on average so far. So pretty good, but this is quite a long hill. It's not steep, but it is a noticeable hill. And so we will start to use more power going up here. You can see there the spot consumption is down to 2 miles per kilowatt hour, so obviously that will then drag the average down. But it's fine, because every time you go up a hill, as sure as night follows day, you then go downhill afterwards at some point. So where we stay is down at the bottom end of this town of Livingston, and have to go uphill in order to get to the motorway to Edinburgh, Glasgow, or anywhere else in this direction. So we will be crossing over the M8 motorway and heading north pretty much on local back roads. So you can maybe see down there a lot more green displaying on the bar. That means I am using more power, obviously. But again, trying to keep it at 50. Quite hard, the car doesn't naturally sit at 50. You could put the speed limiter on, I guess. I don't bother doing that. So the 3 different modes the cruise control functions got on this car are speed limiter, just adaptive cruise control, and then the full-on travel assist, which includes the auto steer. Some people use the speed limiter. Personally, I've never really bothered with it on any car I've ever had. I just keep my eye on the speedometer and use my right foot to control the speed. So again, you can see, oh, it's disappeared. There was a sign picking up on the dash there that there are roadworks ahead. I'm not sure why it's disappeared, because they're still there. They're a fair bit ahead. But maybe you'll see down here, there we are, bang on cue. The sign has come up saying that there's a roundabout and I should lift my foot off the accelerator. I'm doing that, and then we're very slight regen. The car knows we're a distance away. It's now applying quite strong regen. I think it's too strong, so I'm going to take it off with the paddle. Because it's dropped us down to 38 miles an hour and we're still a little bit away, so I'll give it a little blip on the throttle. These are probably going to change by the time we get there anyway, so the car will have maybe been proven right, yeah, as expected. So I'll now have to take that power back off by using the friction brakes, or rather using the brake pedal. To start with, it used the regen. And again, there's further a red light up ahead there which just changed to green, and there was traffic, so why accelerate harshly? Just accelerate gently away, because there's no point in using power to then have to scrub it off again. Again, there's a car on the right hand side. I can see he's going to have to come in because that lane's closed, so I'm going to ease off, or rather not follow that van closely. So it's all just about anticipating and reading the conditions around you, which I've never done an advanced motoring course, but I'd imagine that's the sort of stuff that they tell you all about. And the car, again, it sensed that there's a roundabout, slowing the car down. It just told me it took my foot off the pedal, and it has slowed me down. And then we just carry on, so I didn't touch the brakes at all there. The car did the entire thing. Oh yeah, the sat-nav's telling me to turn off to the right. It's want to force me along the motorway. I'm not going to bother doing that. This is the way I've come for many years, and I know it's about 4 or 5 miles shorter using this route, so that is my preferred option. Again, mini roundabout detected, car slowing down. I'm not doing that. Use a slight bit of brake to go around there. And then back on the power. This is fairly level, but there's little bits of downhill here. So again, I've just accelerated to 40, which is what the speed limit is here. Then I've taken my foot off, and I'm pretty much going to let the slope, both up and down, control the speed. So there's a little bit of up there, followed by a bit of down, a bit of up here, so it takes the speed down to 35, and then it dips away. So again, the car will just, momentum will take it on and increase the speed. So we're going back up 35, 36. So I could use my accelerator, but I'm in no massive hurry this morning. If I was maybe pushing on trying to get to an appointment, I probably wouldn't do this. But it's quite chilled Saturday morning weekend driving. There's a roundabout here. Again, the car has detected it. It's told me to take my foot off the pedal. I had anyway. It's slowing us down. We're clear, so we'll just carry on through and put some power back on. Again, there's slight rising, so it's, you know, people will say when I quote efficiency figures of 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour, do you only drive downhill? No, I don't. I drive uphill and downhill, and it's just mixed motoring. It's all about just gentle movements of the throttle and on the brakes. So again, it's detected the junction here. It knows I'm going left anyway, because you can see that on the system there, and it was telling me to take my foot off the pedal, which I had done, but it was still going a little fast for me, so I've applied regen. Applied too much and stopped too early, but it's fine. Lights have gone to green anyway. Now this is the start of a bit of an uphill section here. So again, you will see I'm using a lot more, or the efficiency's dropped down a bit there, the spot consumption. And of course they put speed bumps in, so you can't just go accelerating hard uphill. Well, I guess you could, but it's probably not great for your car suspension, and it's certainly not comfortable. And it's a residential area. There's lots of kids normally running up and down here and stuff, so you don't want people going crazy. So I'm not complaining about the speed bumps, but they're just not the most comfortable things. So you can see I've gone from, what was it, 5.2 a minute ago. It's scrubbed that down to 4.8 just by going uphill. A little bit more uphill here. Then we'll go on the far side, downhill, and then followed by quite a steep uphill. You'll get the pattern. So foot off the power now, just going, letting the car coast downhill, bit of power to get up the far side. Now onto the far side, so foot is off the accelerator. And of course we've now got brilliant sunshine. Just a few minutes ago it was heavy rain, and now we're in brilliant sunshine. So I used a bit of paddle there just to slow the car down as I came around that corner. I used too much actually, so I'm going to accelerate again. That's a slight rise there, but now we're on a downward slope down into this village, Ecclesmachan. And the car has detected the 30 mile an hour limit, so it's told me to take my power off. I had anyway. It slowed the car down to 30, and then it's removed the regen there. Well, still a little bit of regen just as part of going downhill as it tries to keep me to 30. But I'm not using any power whatsoever coming through here. And people might say, oh, sorry, there's an uphill here obviously, so that's the flip side again. People might say, oh, it's too much effort, I can't be bothered doing all that. To be honest, like I say, I don't make any particular effort to do this. It's just a kind of relaxed way of driving. And you find yourself a lot more, well, you don't find yourself as stressed as I used to find, like when I was driving a diesel on long trips, for example. And I recently did a trip over to Germany in a diesel camper van, and I didn't enjoy driving that as much at all. So again, power, it will be dropping the average efficiency down, coming uphill, bit flat across the top. It's the sort of flat topped hill. Then when we get to the far side, quite a long slope. So the efficiency will come back up again. So there we are at the top of the hill. Well, a little bit more rise here. We're kind of at the top, 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Take my foot off the power, and we'll just coast downhill. Now it's a 50, but when I got to the top there I was only doing 40 because there were some bends, but the car's now accelerating without me using any power. In fact, it's regenning while it accelerates. So we've hit 48, 49. The car's detected there's a junction which is a good bit ahead. It's not in sight. It's told me to take my foot off already. and it knows there's a 40-mile-an-hour limit coming up. There we are, there's the 40 there. So the car has already slowed down in anticipation of that. It's a really clever, smart system. So we're still kind of on the flat, a little bit of a rise here which will scrub speed off again. There's a T-junction coming up where we're going to go right. So the car, again, it's the junction it warned me about back there. The car's slowing, probably not enough for my liking. Oh, it's kicking in now. Yeah, alright, trust the car. Trust the car. It's not going to give me a complete halt, so I'm going to use my brake. Oh, we're clear, so... Oh, we're not clear. He came from nowhere. So again, slightly uphill, but at the end of that downslope, we went from 4.5 to 5.2. We're now going uphill again, so it's scrubbing it off. Uphill, it's down to 4.9, still going slightly uphill. I'm not using any power at all here, just coasting, because I know there's a sign here for a junction on the left. I'm going there. The car knows that as well, because it's got a sign up for the junction, and it's telling me to take my foot off the power. And nice and gently around the corner, because it's quite a sharp corner, with a load of cars parked around it. Got to be careful on this little road because it's always a little rat run, so it can be quite busy. This is quite a tricky junction to get out of when the traffic's heavy, and it does seem to be this morning. So I'm going to accelerate quite hard out of there because there's a gap in the traffic. So you'll see the efficiency drop right down there as I accelerate up to 50, which is the limit here. Right, we'll hit 50. I say accelerate quite hard, it wasn't that hard. It certainly wasn't in sports mode or anything like that. But harder than I've been driving in that sort of relaxed, twisty road manner I've been doing up till now. This is all uphill. So again, the efficiency is dropping down, but it's still 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which is a lot more efficient than I used to manage in this on my Skoda Enyaq IV60. The new, more powerful motor is noticeably more efficient just in my day-to-day driving. So nice and flat here, so power's off. Tiniest bit of regen showing on the dash. Drop below 50, so I'll nudge it back up, but I know that round this corner it changes to 40 again as we come into the next village. Okay, so I'm using power. This is now back up to 50. Maybe able to see in the distance there the Queen's Ferry crossing, the Forth Road Bridge, and the Forth Bridge, which is the railway bridge. Again, the car's picking up that there are twisty bends ahead. It's warning me in case I didn't spot the road signs myself. They're on the dash. Obviously downhill here, so I've got no foot on the accelerator. We'll go up the far side and I'll just put power back on to keep it at the speed limit. So a bit of regen on the way down and then more power on the way up. Nice and flat, just barely touching the accelerator. The car's warning me there's a 30-mile-an-hour limit coming, and it's told me to take my foot off the pedal. So I'll do that. There's a bit of downhill here. I was a bit late spotting that. And in fact, yeah, we're going to hit the 30-mile-an-hour limit when the car's still doing 50 miles an hour. So it's slowing me down. Quite hard regen actually to drop me down to 30, which is good. So if you're, unless you're ignoring both the road signs outside and what the car's telling you, there should be no excuses for getting speeding tickets in an Enyaq. There we are, it's telling me at this roundabout coming up ahead, take my foot off the pedal. That's all fine. There we go. So what have we done so far? We have done 12 miles. We've arrived in South Queensferry and I've done 5.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Yeah, it's not motorway speeds, but do you know what? I was at the speed limit at all times, slightly over it by a couple of miles an hour in a few places. So it's not like I've been going slower than I otherwise would have done. What I've done is I've done everything gently, and I think that is absolutely key, and then paying attention to what the car is telling you. 5.6 miles per kilowatt hour now. That is pretty good, and I can't do the maths in my head, but I'll put on an overlay on the screen what that would mean in terms of a real world range. What I can say is at the moment the car is at 70% and it's predicting that I would get 230 miles more, and that's at 70%. So I reckon that's all right. That's about what my IV60 would have done on a 100% charge. So no excuses for range anxiety in the Enyaq 85 for sure. Not that I ever had them, because frankly I can't drive for 230 miles without stopping. It's just not possible or safe. Anyway, hopefully that's been of use and of interest, and if not, you'll have switched off long ago. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon.